She asked, why and how did the harmonica become a part of Tripp's character? I gotta tell you, I didn't like it very much. I figured, listen, just give me a juice harp. You want to make it really, really bad? They also gave me this song that I was actually supposed to play on the harmonica, and I lied. I didn't lie. I said, well, sure, I can play the harmonica. Yeah, anybody can just go. So I did that, and they're like, oh, great, great. So we give you a harmonica, we give you tape to play, to learn it on. Harmonica's in the wrong key. I learned that thing for a couple days. I found out to say, you know, listen guys, I gotta take the harmonica out of this case and we're gonna fake it. I'll sell it, but I'm faking it. And I never want to do it again. I never want to do that again. I never want to eat pan-fried catfish again. I never want to eat pecan pie again. I like to take a little of the hayseed out of the hayseed. So, that's how that happened. Yes, ma'am. For my role, I think I had the longest, the question was, what was the audition process like? And the audition process for me was, they're all the same, generally in pilot season that you go through. And you go in, you do your first audition, they like you or don't like you. If they like you, they bring you back for producers. Producers send you off to studios. Studios send you off to network. Network then changes your life or makes you miserable, or both. So my situation was I had 3 auditions that day, and I can't do 26 pages of text because I have to learn them. I have to memorize them. I can't just. I'm terrible just looking at the page and looking up and looking at the page. So I come into this audition and I didn't have enough time to prepare it, and I punted it. I just punted that sucker so far to the point where I came out of that audition and I called my agents up and I said, "Listen, I'm not going on 3 again. The 3rd one I'm going to cancel." Well, I get called back for no good reason, I don't think, but the callback's an hour later. It's not going to help me at all. I'm still going to suck. So I come back an hour later, and I've worked it up a little bit more. I'm off the page just a little bit more, but I was still terrible. And Brandon's in the room, who I didn't know who he was at the time. And they surprisingly called me back, and it was the one audition I've ever had where I went, really? All right. I sucked. So this time I had enough time to learn it and do all that sort of stuff. So I got in there and I know when I'm bad. I also know when I nail it too. So I went to the 3rd one and I nailed it. And then then they had to do another studio session. So that's 4. And it was me against, a bunch of really good looking guys. And I'm like, but none of you can act. I was listening too. I was like, yeah, you can't act. So then I go to the network, and it's like me against this Italian guy. His name's Joe. He's actually been on the show a couple of times. Great guy. But it was like, you're going to have me, or you like different flavors of ice cream. You're going to have, chocolate or vanilla. So I come out of that. They still can't make a decision. That's 5 auditions. They have a week then to tell you if you got the job or not. They waited a whole week, so I went to Mexico and drank a weekend away. Just because I thought it's such a nerve-wracking thing when you get so close to something like this that could do such great things and do what you want it to do. Apply your craft every day. So they didn't think I was funny enough. I think. Or, well, you might have heard this, that I didn't show enough awe. Yeah. The AWE. And then they got a hold of, I did an episode of a show called Gideon's Crossing that's no longer around. And I played a guy with priapism, which is the opposite of impotence.
Yes.
And he was going to go adopt a child, going in front of a judge. He'd gotten it from exercising on a bicycle or whatever. So it's all sight gags. I've got a potted plant in front of me and a briefcase and all these scenes like this. And it was actually very funny. So they saw that and they finally said, yeah, we'll give him the job. And after that, I wasn't irritated so much as I was relieved, but I was like, could you guys have asked for the tape a week ago? Couldn't you ask for anything more? But they didn't, and they wound up giving me the job. But I just thought I was going to be, because we don't get a script when you first audition for the show. It's all top secret, hoo-ha, you know, unseal this, you know. So I'm thinking, I'm just the engineer. I'm on every now and then. I've got a gravy job. I open that pilot script up and I'm like, oh, holy shit. I'm all throughout this thing. And I had to sort of sit back and go, all right, man, you gotta gird yourself for this. This is more than you thought it was. But yeah, the long part of that was the whole part of the audition process. And I got the job. Questions?
I understand you have a master's in fine arts and acting and directing. Is directing something that you're thinking of
Yeah, I'd love to. I think this year they closed the door on that. They're just using directors they've had before. But I'm in a tutorial program that they've done with Roxanne and Robbie, and I hope to get that opportunity by the time I'm done. The acting and directing master's degree, they just call it that. I just got a classical training degree. I didn't direct anything. I'd like to, but I didn't direct anything. But I've seen Roxanne do a great job, and Robbie do a great job, and LeVar is an awesome director, and seeing them be able to do it, you know, it's not brain surgery, but there's a lot you need to know about it. I don't necessarily want to be a director, but I would like to be able to put that in my bag. So. Yes?
How comfortable are the uniforms to wear in the show?
How comfortable? Have they gotten better? Hey, I gotta tell you, man, I'd rather have that than the little shirt tug from Next Generation. I like my Chevron mechanic outfit. It's not so bad. Yeah, and I get like 80s pockets, you know? I get like, you know, new wave pockets are everywhere. They tug, they're tight, so they do tug on your shoulders a little bit. You do have to kind of stretch yourself out. It's the EV suits that are a complete nightmare. They're awful. They weren't developed with our bodies in mind. They were just developed to look good. You know, you've got a 6 or 8 pound freestanding thing on your head. Have that on your head for 4 or 5 hours. You know, and you can't move it very well. And then you've got this backpack that weighs, I don't know, it feels like an elephant after about half an hour. But it's somehow perfectly set to throw your back out. I don't know how they did it. I do. I've got a great chiropractor. I didn't know I needed one, but I needed one now. So they're okay.
Where do you think your character and Paul's character is?
Nuptials and babies. No, I don't know. They're being, the question was, where does it think Paul and Tripp's character is going to go? You know, they butted heads for a couple of years, and now they're at least facing each other. I have a feeling that it'll go farther than just facing each other. We got it right on the spot too. I don't know. They didn't tell us anything. You know, I've heard things that you might have heard. You know, that they're going to develop a romance. Sorry.
You look like you two was more.
When?
Fighting that episode where fighting you about.
See, they give you a little and they pull it back, and they give you a little and they pull it back. So we're doing that right now too. This is our 5th episode we're shooting, and there's a little bit of that and pulling it back. You know, pulling it back. So you're getting some of that. But I really don't know what their plans are. I know there are some. But I'm curious too. Yes, sir.
What's your working relationship with Porthos and any?
A working relationship with Porthos? I don't get to go near that dog. Nobody gets to go near that dog. That dog is a star diva. That goes in a rotation. But there's 2 of them. There's Porthos and Prada. No, Prada and Breezy, sorry. They're fine, it's fine. The dogs are fine. Yeah, they did. It was about, they just about the temperature drop in the shuttle pod one. It was about the sound stage we had cut in half, you know, a good 3 or 4 times higher than this, with visqueen all around it, 2x4 frame. And they had used 6 industrial coolers to bring it all the way down. And then they used nitrogen to spray the shuttle pod right before we went in. And they had ice packs below the metal, and it cracked it actually, it got so cold. All to get our breath. That was the whole reason. And it's like 95 degrees outside. I swear to God, you're like, I'm not going outside, I'm gonna catch pneumonia. I'm stay right here where it's 15 degrees. They made us drink hot tea so we, you know, blow out. How many, watch that episode again. How many times you see this? It works so well. But I thought the episode was good. Yes, ma'am.
I told Ron this last year, and I'm saying this to you, thank you for the Rise episode where you were running around in your underwear.
I'll do it all for you. Well, you're welcome, I guess is all I can say about that. Listen.
I was just doing this in a show like this, you're working with directors and, you're doing a scene, they'll want to do several takes to get the best one. Now, in these decontamination scenes, where you rub each other with the slime, you think, maybe after a while your skin would get sad. What do you use? Like, how hard is that to wash off and stuff? And I don't know, it might not be such a chore doing the scene again. Like getting that all off when you're done, what do you use?
Well, I can tell you putting it on is a lot more fun than taking it off. Because people taking it off don't look like her. To take it off, if you really want to know, they have to wipe you down, then just scrub you down, because it had glitter on it. Glitter's murder. Because it just sticks around, and you had to go back in there to make it look like you hadn't done it yet. But yeah, you got a little raw. No one, I have to say, you do a scene like this, it's kind of like if I were to walk out here in my underwear and made out with the girl on stage in front of you guys. Because the cameras say it's right here, there's 30 people back there going. And you're trying to do a scene. So it is as uncomfortable as people say it is. The crew is all our friends, so that helps. But nonetheless, it's a little humiliating, to be honest with you. Because would any of you like to walk up here, put your underwear on, and make out with somebody, and have us all go like this? Cut, Connor. What are you doing? Line it up, baby. No. Yes, sir.
There's an episode toward the end of last season, forget the title right now, where...
Out.
Well, the World Fund next week, my brain is fried.
Okay.
Where Archer and Tripp have falling out at the end of the episode, things that folks really talked about. And I noticed that didn't really seem to carry on the next couple of episodes. You got Archer and Tripp were buddies again. I was wondering whether that was going to come out again and whether the relationship's been damaged and that's going to carry on.
No, I don't think so. I think it's the relationship it's a 3-dimensional relationship. So if they only got along, it'd be very boring, I think. They've got a lot to do. So for it to carry, listen, that carrying over and other things not carrying over, it's an episodic series. So do you want to have a season arc of Tripp and Archer not getting along so well? Or would you rather have, going into the Delphic Expanse and fighting some bad guys? So you had to just let it alone, I think. But I really thought that they handled it well. I thought that, you were only going to have a 2-dimensional relationship if you kept it that way. And for them to do that, I was really, really pleased about it. And I was pleased with the way it came out. I thought that, the levels that were going on throughout the whole episode and the questions being asked were sort of true of like, I'm not patting myself on the back, but just the good parts about Star Trek, as far as I'm concerned. When I saw good episodes, it had those elements to it. That's what I felt about it. But I hope that, you know, I hope we fight. I hope stuff like that happens. I mean, we're humans. Well, some of us are humans. And we feel. Question? Yes, sir.
Tell us about your first experience of convention fandom and how you applied all the first.
My first one was in Portland, Oregon, about 40 minutes away from where I grew up. And my parents came, and my grandparents came, and my aunt and uncle came, and my mom kind of heckled me a little bit. She asked me to tell a story that I was like, I'm not telling that story. Ladies and gentlemen, my mother. And she's like, how dare you? But it was, you know, it was probably 1,500, 2,000 people, and I'm a stage actor. So, you know, getting on stage in front of people is no big deal to me. So they've all been a lot of fun. They've all been a lot of fun. And I have to say, what a great one here, and what a great city. I've never been here before, but Toronto, I have to say, thumbs up. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. How is filming Star Trek any different than, let's say, One Life to Live, or, you know? Like, is the procedure exactly the same, or is it
No,
totally different, or?
The way a soap opera works is it's sort of like the way a sitcom works. She asked the difference between, say, One Life to Live and Enterprise. They have a 3-camera setup, so they have 3 cameras going at all times on a soap opera as well as a sitcom, because they're pumping out so much stuff and they don't have enough time to, you know, do your master over the shoulder, close up, and that sort of stuff. They're doing it all at one time. We just use 1 camera. And sometimes we use 2 cameras, but very rarely actually. And we'll just, you know, you do your master shot, you'll do your 2 shot, your over the shoulder shot, then, you know, if they have any other like neat thing they want to do. And the difference for me in doing One Life to Live and Enterprise is I sucked so bad on One Life to Live. I did, I was terrible. I got this part where I was supposed to be some nefarious lackey for this guy. Played a guy named Zeus Zelenko. But he had to do magic. I don't do magic. We'll do a scene and try to talk and do magic you don't know how to do. I had like poster putty all over my body because I was, you know, I had to hide a quarter here, there, you know, stick it in my shirt. It was awful. It was awful. They have a hard job doing a soap opera. Definitely. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, where is the show going this year?
Into the Delphic expanse.
But what can you tell us? Can you tell us anything more?
Well, there's been, you know, word out that it's going to get more action and sexier, and, you know, Tripp's sister's dead, and he's pissed off. Up to this point, there have been less shows about us personally as characters, and it's been more about the journey that we're on and the arc that we're beginning. I don't know where the arc will take us. I don't know how long it will last. But it's exciting. You know, it's given us an opportunity for more stories. And I don't know, because they don't tell me anything, of course, except here's your lines and stand here. I think that it's going to last for maybe all year. And I think it's a good idea. Because you'll get your episodes where, you know, it's about somebody's problem with so-and-so or this and that and the other thing. But I think it's a good thing to have, you know, to be energized in that sense that we're carrying out an arc of a story as opposed to the arc of a story in one episode. To make that track several shows, well, I've never done it before, so I'm very excited. It's been great. Yes, sir.
Quick question, how long does it take to complete one episode, and how many hours do you spend on set every day?
An episode to complete it takes generally about 7.5, 8 days. But you always wind up doing B unit stuff, second unit stuff to finish it because you're always short. So that's typical to our television. You're there for, it's a 12-hour day, guaranteed. That's to start. And then you typically go, you know, 14 or 15 hours. You know, we work our asses off to put the show out there. But you know, it ain't that much work if you like what you're doing, and I really like what I'm doing, and I think most everybody else in the show likes what they're doing too, so it makes it a lot easier. Yes, sir?
Were you a Star Trek fan before you joined the show?
No. I grew up on the original one. I think everybody grew up on the original one. You know, I come home from school and they'd be on TV, and I'm sure I saw every one of them, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you besides the tribbles and that one where they're behaving like, you know, horses and sheep against each other. What any of them are. You know what I'm talking about? Playing like the centaur? Okay. You do. But yeah, I watched some of the other ones. By the time Next Generation was on and Voyager, you know, I was outside playing football, that kind of stuff. But I've boned up on my Star Trek since I've gotten the job, and I've watched several things, and I love it desperately. Yes, sir.
At what point, was it like during the last season, did they tell you guys, okay, there's gonna be some changes, there's gonna be something different, or did you just put the script tag and say, here, this is what you're gonna do now, and that's it? Did you have to go through it all, and they tell you, okay, here's what you do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. I mean, I heard things before they actually told us things. You know, you guys hear more than I know. Honestly, so, and you know, that's okay with me. I get the actor paycheck. I don't get the writer, producer, director paycheck, and I like it that way. I mean, you know, I do punch my card going to work, and I have a great deal of pride in what I do, but I don't want to write the show, you know? I don't want to come up with these stories. It's hard, you know? This is hard enough. So, yes, ma'am.
14, 15 hours a day, when do you come time to
Yeah, you don't. That's why it's 15 hours. No. Tough luck. You just go home and do it. You go home and you get better at it. That muscle gets stronger. You know, if I have to go home and learn, especially if you're working a heavy episode where you are putting those kind of hours in, you go home after 15 hours and you just knuckle down for a couple hours before you know, just fall asleep and get them down. You have to. You know, it's funny. It's a misconception that, like, you know, we're just sitting in our trailers, you know, watching TV or mucking around. You're keeping your lines in your head, you know, because it stays short term. I've done a scene before where I thought it was going to be over at lunch. They came back and did my coverage, and I went, I don't know this anymore. And we honestly had to go like paragraph by paragraph, because it just was gone, you know. But that muscle gets stronger, and, you know, for the first half of the first year, you're just panicked about it. And then, you know, you relax. It all works out. The more you relax, the better you are. Well, at anything. Back there.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you enjoy watching the episodes yourself?
I do. I watch the ones that I'm in. And I'm in all of them. But I do, you know, but I sort of watch the episodes a bit differently. I am watching to see how the story comes together, because we shoot out of sequence. You know, you oftentimes are having to, you know, create your own arc and your own episode, but you're never really sure if it's going to work, because you're shooting, you know, the end of the episode, the middle of the episode, go back to almost to the end of the episode, go to the beginning of the episode. You might have had to have a progression of emotion or something like that. You just hope that it works out. So I find myself kind of going, okay. Not bad, you know. So I'm kind of not judging it, but I'm sort of using it as my homework. You know, I'm not going to do that again. This is a bad move. Yes.
Do you wear contacts while you're shooting, or do you just take off glasses and
I just run blind. That's why I break all my props. I'm not kidding, actually. Yes, sir.
I heard Dominic say last year that there's kind of a bit of a gap between him and Scott, you know, that they didn't like to talk that much. As a central character, do you get along better with him? I mean,
With Scott Bakula? Or
no, Scott Thompson with his all, yes.
I'm not going to answer your question. Go ahead.
I read somewhere that you were building your house. How's that going?
We bought one. Bought a house, yeah. It's an old craftsman house, fixing it up. It's great. I mean, no, I have to say, you know, as an actor, you never bank on the fact that you're going to get something like this. So you have to be comfortable with the fact you're never going to own a house. You're just going to go from job to job to job to job, but you do it because you love it. So, you know, getting one was like, wow. You know, it's been awesome to be able, you know, part of it's also too, you know, I feel a little grown up now. You know, I have a house, I have property tax, I have things I never wanted to pay attention to ever, you know. Gotta deal with the plumbing. You can't call up the guy and go, can you fix that? You're calling yourself. So, but it's great. I'm really enjoying it. Yes, ma'am.
What was your reaction to the script where Tripp got pregnant?
I tell you, when I read that thing, I was like, wow, this is gonna be awesome. I mean, when do you get that shot? Any of you guys out here had that shot before? You know, and they also, I thought they wrote it pretty well. They gave, you know, I put out the one where he starts crying. And that was my thing. I was like, come on, you gotta have the whole, like, emotional thing, you know, for no good reason at all. I just started crying. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And it wound up being a lot funnier than I thought it was gonna be initially. And it was a hoot, you know. I'm never gonna do it again. I'm only having one.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I've heard various crews that when they're filming, like apparently Voyager was a bunch of pranksters and Deep Space Nine was very professional. What's the crew like and what's some of the fun stuff that you guys do behind the scenes, if any?
Well, I have to say, we're not the biggest pranksters in the world. Yeah, we joke a lot. And I don't know how Deep Space Nine did it, or I don't know how Voyager did it then, you know. They had a bigger set. Maybe. I don't know, we don't have a lot of people who are out there. I don't know what you mean exactly, because when I think of practical jokes, I think like, you know, somebody has a milk bucket on the door and it falls when you open. You know, not nice stuff.
Or stuff behind the scenes where you're trying to be serious and the people behind are doing silly things to try and get you to flub your lines. Or, you know, like you're supposed to have a problem.
These lines are hard enough to say. Believe me, these lines are hard enough to say. Yes, sir.
I heard from Brent Spiner last year that Patrick Stewart's chair got stolen constantly, and it was always on the set of Enterprise.
Yeah, it did. It got stolen a couple times. I think Scott's chair's been stolen. Well, it's a 911 Porsche chair. You might as well take it. It feels good. And there have been a couple other things that have been stolen. Costume pieces. No hair pieces? Yeah, the dribble's running around. That's what Yes, sir. Oh, let's see, idols growing up. Yeah. I liked baseball growing up, so, you know. I would have lined up around the block to see Reggie Jackson. My parents were my idols, to be honest with you, you know. I always had a great time with them, and they taught me a lot, and they've always been my friends, so I didn't have to look far, which is good. And then people to work with, anybody who's good, you know. I mean, yeah, Spielberg calls, I'll go, you know. But you don't need somebody on his SWAT team, fine, I'll be there, you know. But who would I most like to work with? Anybody. Anybody else? How about that? Anybody else I'm working with? No. That's actually a hard question. Anybody? Yes, sir.
If you had the option to do things with Tripp, what would you like to see him doing in upcoming episodes?
Well, I'm interested to see how this exploring the death of his sister goes. I think that's you know, a level that I wasn't expecting, and I think it's going to be interesting. And you know, you're not going to have just a pissed off guy in the morning. I mean, so I'm curious to see how that goes. You know, it's funny because the things that you wind up doing on the show blow you away anyway. We're like, we're doing what? You know, that you can't even imagine what those are prior to that. So I guess I like it when he gets his foot caught in his mouth. I do.
Command the ship, perhaps?
Hey, that's a hard enough job. Yes, ma'am.
Was it like doing all the techno babble? Was that difficult?
It's impossible. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. I'm the worst in the cast. I'm getting better. I'm starting to figure out how these things kind of link up. For the most part, I suck at techno babble. Anytime I see it, I just like freeze up a little bit. Give me 6 pages of just dialogue, 5 minutes, I've got it memorized. But I'm sitting there going, oh God, what is that? I've had to tape the words, you know, so you can't see them. You know, blah, 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 blah. Happens all the time. I'll confess to it, I'm bad at it. You back there, man. You had a question? Yeah. Hi. I didn't hear you, what'd you say? Yeah. No. I know where Disney is.
Florida.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, send me your stuff. Sure. I'm barely around them. They, you know, they're just in the, you must know this, you know, you're just in the room creating this stuff, and they never come out. You know, they're the wizards behind the curtain. Oh, there goes Denise. Running. 5555 Melrose Avenue, Paramount. Honest to God, said it there. It's in attention, what is it again? Computer, send it to computer animation. I would, do it. See what happens. Couldn't hurt. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, tell him Connor sent you. Yes, sir. Do you have a question over here? Yes.
I don't know whether I should ask this or not.
You're about to.
I kind of, and I do have less, but I prepared a little skit I was hoping that, you know, very short.
Bring it on.
Kind of like inspiring director artist.
Yeah.
I wrote a little scene between your character and
And another character. It says Tucker and other character. It should be you. What's your name? Jason. Great. You want? Is there one?
So, yeah. I kind of like read, you know, Stanislavski and method acting and everything, so I'm going to try to give it my best shot.
You need a moment? Shoulders loose. How's your voice? Ha 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 ha. Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Where am I?
You are on the planet Frosted Flakes. You got hammered, and Porthos had to carry you to your quarters.
Who are you?
Tony.
DePaul.
No, you're not. She'd never say hammered. You have issues, you alien.
Damn!
Episode 8. Wow. Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, there are it's great that you stories, but it does close off other things.
My life, you mean?
Other jobs that you can't take.
It does.
Working series, what kind of acting would you like to have a chance to do?
If I weren't
In the series?
in this series, I'd just be, you know, hustling for a job. I miss being on stage. I miss doing theater. I've done a lot of theater. It's a much more organic process than television or film. That, you know, like a blockbuster movie kind of deal. You know, maybe a smaller movie in the wintertime, you know, just sort of get like the Academy Award thing going a little more. But no, honestly, I'd much rather, not much rather, I would really like to be able to have the time to continue doing theater and a blockbuster. Yes, sir.
With the potential for Schwarzenegger to be out of the scene and already acting the scene.
The governor?
Can't tell, right? Action movie genre?
Me? I want to play G.I. Joe. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what's it like having an action figure of yourself?
Freaks me out. I'll tell you a little story. A friend of mine has a daughter. She's six or 7 years old, and I knew her before I got the job. So she's watching TV with her dad, and her dad says, "That's Connor." And she's for a 6 or 7 year old to go, "It's a strange thing. TV is like real." She's like, "It's not in space." And then she comes over later that night, and she's like, "Where have you been?" "I'm right here. What's going on?" Then he takes her over to Toys R Us, and he says, "See that? Yeah, that's Connor." It is not. It is kind of freaky. It is kind of freaky. Having an action figure, and you know what? Of the action figures, mine kind of looks like me. You know? But it is kind of strange. But I got them all.
What made you go into acting?
What made me go into acting? I'd gone to college on a football scholarship, actually. I played ball for a couple of years, and I'd never acted before. Actually, that's not true. I did my English class version of Our Town. You know, we all rotate, play different parts. And the honest to God truth is I was tired of playing football, and I was hanging out in the dorm room, and some cute girl in the theater department, and she said, "Why don't you audition for a play?" And I said, "Sure." So I went home over the weekend, and they were auditioning for a student production, and walked into that audition, not expecting anything, and wound up walking out, quitting ball the next day. I'll be an actor.
What happened to the girl?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She joined the football team.
She didn't like acting so much. She was going to play some football. Fast? She was fast. Yes, ma'am. It's a big joke, they don't care, but it is true. In the pilot episode, you know, we had those face pistols, and we only had 2 prototypes. And now you can buy them anywhere. They look just like the ones we use. In fact, we should use them, they're cheaper. But I had a face pistol, and Scott had a face pistol, and we're going off, and we're doing this thing, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll do my action scene." Run in there, and I run into this thing, and I break it. Break the face pistol in half, they're like, "Oh my God." So they give me Scott's, tape mine up, and put it in his holster. We only have 2. Sorry, I mean, I don't know if it's something about me. I'll touch a button, it'll fall off. They tell me not to touch things. I can't help it.
You're an engineer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I can fix it. Yes, sir. You know, somebody asked me that. Is there anything I've taken from set or would like to take from this set? The captain's chair is not very comfortable. I have it at home. No. You know, I use that stuff and wear it enough. I think if and when this show is over, you know, I'm not really connected to anything emotionally right now, because you break it. I think her husband might have something to say about that. But at this point, there isn't really anything I'd like to take home. Paycheck. Anybody? Yes, sir. Do I wish wish some of the episodes were more suspenseful after having seen them. Sometimes I do watch a show and seeing what we've shot, sometimes it doesn't wind up being as suspenseful as I thought it was going to be, but you know, that's so far out of my control. I do get to give feedback, but I only get to give feedback, say like this. I don't think Tripp would do this. Yes, he would. All right. I mean, it's a bit more diplomatic than that, but you know, I do have input into you know, the shades and colors of what my character's doing, and sometimes things that I think are really, really wrong. But otherwise, you know, there's editors and, you know, directors and Rick and Brandon, you know, they got their hands all over it, and I don't get to go anywhere near it. I might break it. I might break the show.
What do you like to do in your spare time when you have some?
When I have spare time, I just like to sleep, hang out, you know, be with my friends.
Do you travel a lot, or?
Yeah, I travel a lot. I like to travel. We went to, funny, I went to Peru and hiked the Inca Trail, went to Machu Picchu, which was awesome. You know, nobody's gonna notice me in Peru. Top of Machu Picchu, some English bloke's like, "Right, are you who I think you are?" I was like, "I might be." I said, "Right, I love your show, mate. Have a photo." I'm foul. I haven't washed for like 5 days. There's no washing on the Inca Trail. You're just going. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Thanks. But I do like to travel. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things. Yes, ma'am. How much of myself do I put in a Tripp? Well, how much do you guys think? Probably a lot. Yeah. He's pretty close to me. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of me goes into him. I think that's partly why they cast me, you know, because I'm kind of a goofball. I make funny faces, and it's just part of who I am, and I think that's something that they liked about the character. I think that, you know, when you're talking about doing series television, you know, unless you're playing the Beast from Beauty and the Beast or whatever that show was, you know, you're kind of playing you up to a point, you know. George Clooney, play George Clooney. You know, Ted Danson, play Ted Danson. It's a little difficult with all the amount of work that you are doing to, you know, to really carry a character that long without really showing your true colors in it. Yes, ma'am. Two eyes, no. Well, yeah, you get enough drinks in me in a karaoke bar, sure, but not in front of you guys.
High fives.
No. Yes, ma'am.
Given some of the storylines that they've done with the characters of Tripp and Malcolm, with their little adventures and friendship building, if the writers actually would listen to an idea you had, what would you think would be a great adventure for Tripp and Malcolm to have?
Oh, I think we should do a spin-off called The Odd Couple in Space. That's what I think we should do. I like working with him. We're very different people, too. And he's a great guy, and he's a very good actor. And when I have worked with him, it's been a lot of fun. And in fact, I think Shuttlepod 1 has allowed us to, as characters, work more together. Maybe a cooking show, you know. Yes, sir.
When friends and family found out you were going to be on Trek, did you get any warnings, any stories, don't wear red shirts, anything like that?
I shouldn't wear any red shirts? No, they were all just thrilled to pieces, really. Funny, the town I grew up in, they ran it in the theater there, in the movie house. They ran a pilot episode in the movie house. It's awfully cute. Yes, sir.
Anyone warn you to come to these for the rest of your life?
Did they warn me that I'd be coming to these the rest of my life? Yeah, they said it was my retirement. Yes, sir. I don't change my life as much as I possibly can. You know, I go and do whatever I have to say. I mean, it's one thing to be on CSI and be highly recognizable. This show, depending on where I am, the numbers of people who do recognize me are lower. So I really don't have to change my life at all. You know, there's never been an occasion where there's been anything but, you know, respect paid to, you know, me by somebody walking up to me, and I appreciate it, you know. Man, it feels good. It feels good walking in here and then people like cheering for you. It does. It's a great feeling, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the whole thing. Yes, ma'am.
What was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode was... I'd say Shuttlepod 1 or Cogenitor. I liked Cogenitor a lot. I didn't like it doing it. For some reason, it was really hard for me to do that episode. But watching it, I thought it was done pretty well. Those two come to mind. Do you have any pets? Nope. No goldfish. No hamster. Grew up with guinea pigs. Went to Peru, found out they eat them. Not kidding, you're going like to the farmer's market, there's a whole bowl of guinea pigs. Skinned, teeth in their mouth still, little claws. And I'm like, oh. Listen. Sweet ones? Yeah, good, huh? Yeah, Walla Walla sweets. Eat them like an apple. Back there.
Do you find it a little hard to act alongside with the CG characters or special effects and getting hit with laser fire? Or is it kind of like second nature to that?
Well, you know what's second nature to going like this? It's going like that. This is hard. Not doing anything. You don't grow up going, you know, not any recoil. The CGI stuff is a little difficult because you're talking to a little black mat with orange X on it. So anytime you see us talking to the screen, there's this little thing there, and then our AD is butchering the lines. So it's something you have to get used to. We have 2 minutes. 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Where do you come from?
I was born in Walla Walla, Washington. I then moved to the Tri-Cities in Washington, and then I spent most of the time in Kelso, Washington. All on the Columbia, all in the Northwest. That's where I'm from. Yes, ma'am. You can have a hug, sure. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you more.
The other cast members outside working hours, or do you pretty much leave right behind?
Scott's got a family. We're together a lot at work. Dominic and I hang out a little bit. I've hung out with Anthony a little bit. You know, we see each other a lot at work. So, you know, not that much. I've got other friends who get neglected because of my job that I need to spend time with. So, yes, sir.
Okay, you started out the talk today discussing how you wanted your character to be listen to the country, etc. You see over the course of these 7 years, which is a long stretch for an actor to maintain this one character, you see yourself caring more about the character as these years go by, and you put down and say, look, man, this Tripp wouldn't do this. Or,
Yeah, I do that now.
You do that.
I do that now. Yeah. I mean, I live with this guy.
More so, or is it getting more so? You see yourself getting more that way, or just
Out of the gate, I was that way. You know, this is a great opportunity as far as I was concerned, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna open my mouth, because I don't cry wolf. If I've got something to say, I say it. Otherwise, I keep my mouth shut. You know, I may not agree with the way a line's been written, but unless I have a real problem with it, or if it's really something about my character, I'm gonna make it work. You know, I don't want to make. They're doing their job, and I'm doing my job. And hang on a minute, I gotta get out of here and get my bottle of water. Huh? Hey, it's leaking! One more. Who hasn't asked one yet that I haven't talked to? Right there, standing up there. You and the Price is Right.
Hey, I'd like to say thank you for the cast, to all the cast for entertaining us for an hour each week.
My pleasure.
And you pass that to the rest of the
I will. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm just going to step in. I might break it.
All right, I'm gonna run it to the limit.